Hi everyone, my name is Ngozi Adeleye, founder CrunchEconometrix. Show you how you can compute an index using the principal component analysis. Principal component analysis is credited to Carl Pearson in 1901. This technique is very effective for visualizing and exploring high-dimensional data sets or data with many features, as it can easily identify trends, patterns, and outliers. I got this from this link, as you can see, so this is not to my credit. So if you click on this link, or if you go to this link, you will read more about the principal component analysis. So principal component analysis, or PCA for short, reduces the number of dimensions in large data sets to principal components that retain most of the original information. So that means even when you use the PCA, the initial information or original information for your data set is still retained. What it does is by transforming potentially correlated, that is the key word, correlated variables into smaller set of variables called principal components. Again, I'm crediting those statements to this link. PCA projects a high-dimensional data set into a smaller feature space. It also minimizes or together eliminates common issues such as multicollinearity. That is the key word. It combats multicollinearity and overfitting. And what is multicollinearity? This is when two or more independent variables are highly correlated with one another, which can be problematic for causal modeling. The PCA summarizes the information contents of large data sets into a smaller set of uncorrelated variables known as principal components. So these are just various definitions of the PCA. These principal components are linear combinations of the original variables that have the maximum variance compared to other linear combinations. These components capture as much information from the original data from this link, so I'm crediting the source where I got those statements from. Now let's talk about eigenvectors and eigenvalues. They are derived from the covariance matrix that underpin the principal components and allow for the analysis of linear transformations. So what are eigenvectors? They provide direction of variance in the scatter plot, while eigenvalues are the coefficients of the eigenvectors, and this denotes the importance of this directional data. Again, if you want to know more about eigenvectors and eigenvalues in a very simplified manner, go to this link to read more. A high eigenvalue means that the corresponding eigenvector is more critical. I'm going to show this in my next video on the practical application or creation of the PCA. Since principal components represent the directions of maximum variance in the data, they are also eigenvectors of the covariance matrix. There are two major components to be calculated in the PCA: the first principal component and the second principal component. But this may not always be the case. You may only have one major component to use to construct your PCA. I'm going to show you this in the next video. So here I'm going to show you the application of the PCA. I was able to create an index of highly correlated variables. I've been able to create financial stability index for my PhD thesis, and several of my manuscripts I have created institutional quality index and the ICT index. For the financial stability index, I used 6 variables, 3 of them pointing to the assets in the financial system and 3 pointing to liabilities in the financial system. You can see domestic credit to the private sector, domestic credit to the private sector by banks, domestic credit provided by financial institutions. These are all asset pointing indicators. For the liabilities, you can clearly see financial system deposits, liquid liabilities, and broad money. This measure captures both the assets and liability components of the financial system, which substantiates their relevance in the composition of the index, in addition to the fact that they remain strongly correlated. I got these indicators from the World Bank data. So here is the link. So for further justification, you can see the correlation matrix to show that these variables are highly correlated. From this slide, looking at the financial stability index I created, you can see the correlation between the index and the individual variables of the financial system. If you look closely, I use the change rather than the levels of these variables. But even at that, if you see the change in domestic credit and the change in domestic credit by banks, the correlation coefficient is 0.900, indicating highly strong correlation. Also, the change in financial system deposits and change in liquid liabilities have 0.941 as a correlation coefficient. Therefore, given strong relevance for me to create an index. Again, if you look at the financial system or financial stability index and the correlations with these individual financial stability variables, if you see the correlation matrix from here shows that the correlation coefficients are very, very high. 0.773, 0.798, the lowest is 0.638. So this one shows you that indeed creating an index is very necessary. Moving on to the institutional quality index I created. I used 6 variables to create that index: control of corruption, rule of law, government effectiveness, voice and accountability, regulatory quality, and political stability. You will agree with me that these are highly correlated institutional indicators, which justifies the reason for creating an index. Again, I got this data from World Bank Worldwide Governance Indicators. So you can see the correlation matrix between the index I created and the individual institutional variables. You can clearly see that these variables indicate strong correlations among themselves, highly strong correlation. So it's important for an index to be generated. Looking at IQI, which is the index vis-a-vis its correlation with the individual institutional variables, you can clearly see the correlation coefficients ranging from 0.8 to as high as 0.7975. So this one strongly suggests the need for an index to be created. Lastly, ICT index. I have several papers where I generated ICT index. The variables I used: mobile cellular subscriptions, fixed telephone subscriptions, fixed broadband subscriptions, and internet users. All these measures or all these variables capture ICT usage. You can also get this data from the World Bank, okay? Looking at the correlation among these variables, you can clearly see they indicate strong correlations among themselves. Vis-a-vis the ICT index, you can see the correlation ranging from 0.294 to as high as 0.944. The Kesa-Meyer-Oakland KMO index is also high at 0.6438. The benchmark is 0.5. So if your KMO index is exactly 0.5 or above 0.5, is a suggestion or an indication that yes, you need to create an index using the PCA method. These are the 2 articles among several that I have where I've used index in one way or the other to run my analysis. So if you want to cite me, you may wish to get these papers directly from my ResearchGate account. Don't go away. In my next video, I'm going to show you the practical way by which you can create an index using the PCA method. Thank you for watching. So this video just gives you the background about the principal component analysis. Don't go away. In my next video, I'm going to show you how to create an index using principal component analysis.